So here's the story of my three kings here, my three Miller's Falls small saws. I had first wanted years ago a fret saw, and the Miller's Falls was very common and popular, and so I bought this, it's got to be 20 years ago, beautiful Cocobolo handle, very simple design that almost all fret saws have. You have a frame that's a little flexible, so you flex the frame in, you tension the blade, lock it in with the wing nuts. When you let go of the tension of the frame, it expands again just enough to tighten the blade. Very simple design. Use it a little bit in my guitar making, probably not as much as I thought I would. Only use it with very delicate stuff. Years later, Christopher Swartz started an internet feeding frenzy with his description of the legendary, or he called it legendary, Miller's Falls number 42 coping saw. Here's one. And as I'm reading his article, I remembered that I had a pile of old coping saws that I'd scored at a garage sale years before, stuck in a corner, never got a chance to clean them up. And I could have sworn there was a Miller's Falls there. So I went and sure enough, I found it. Again, I think it's Cocobolo handle. What's different about this? Here is the standard traditional design of a coping saw. Been made for the better part of 100 years. It's very simple. You turn the handle to loosen or tighten the blade. It has these sort of levers that move the blade, and you tighten it in the position that you want it in. What's the problem with this design? The biggest problem is the levers don't stay set. So you start cutting with it, you make 10, 20, 30 cuts, and the lever has moved just a little bit. Now you have to start over, reset it. So Miller's Falls went with a sort of Rube Goldbergish design. Again, you do have the handle that moves, but what you have here is this nut. Let's see if we can see it. You retract it. Now you can move freely the blade. You can lock it into one of the small keyholes, and it'll still move freely. Or you can lock it. Oops. Into one of the deeper keyholes. Get it in there. I'm not doing this very well. And this thing will not move. Well, it just did move because I hadn't really locked it. Now I've got it locked. Try this again. Put it in the shallow keyhole. Lock it. And the blade will turn freely, but it still will be, the handle's tightened. Put it in one of the deeper keyholes, and the blade is completely locked. So it's a cool design. So that blade will not move when it is locked in that keyhole. It will move freely when it's locked, or not when it's put into this keyhole. Then it'll move. So that's how the tool works. Now, what was interesting when I looked at it, I realized that it had a 6-inch blade, not the standard, what's today the standard 6.5-inch blade, with an eyelet. I don't know that we're going to get to see that. An eyelet design at either end. That sort of blade has not been made for coping saws for a very long time. So I got discouraged. And then I started thinking, okay, how can I take a 6.5-inch blade with pins, which is the standard coping saw blade today, held in by pins, and cut the 6.5-inch to 6 inches and all that kind of stuff. And then I remembered my handy-dandy cigar box filled with coping and fret saw and jewelry saw blades that I'd gotten many years before, and had every kind of old blade you can imagine. And lo and behold, as I opened it up and went through all the blades, I had like 100 eyelet style 6-inch blade. So I was in business. I've gotten more of them. I've probably got about 100. So that's the Miller's Falls coping saw. A couple years later, my old jeweler's saw gave up the ghost, and I started thinking that I knew I needed a new jeweler's saw. Most of the designs today are pretty good. A lot of them are German, and they're well made. But then I thought I wanted to find something old, and I wondered what Miller's Falls did. And I looked it up and discovered, although it was not sold, they didn't sell a lot of them, I don't think, because it's fairly uncommon. This is the Miller's Falls jeweler's saw. Most, again, what I believe is a Cocobolo handle. Most jeweler's saws expand or contract the frame to take on different size of blade, which is kind of convenient. This one has a pretty unique way it does it, with a knurled knob, which you can loosen. You can loosen this screw, and you can expand and contract the frame of the saw, tighten it up, tensions the blade, and you're good. It's a very simple but very elegant design. I don't know if this is nickel plated. It's got a nice plating, whatever it is. But it's been a great replacement jeweler's saw, and I hope it lasts my lifetime anyway. So those are my 3 Miller's Falls saws that, I deeply enjoy, and they're great for the kind of guitar making work that I do. Thanks.